What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 235 of Cocktails in the War Room. I am your host, Mistress Carrie, and yes, 235 times we have gotten together. Most of the time, it's right here in a room in my house that we call the War Room, and this is how we ride out all of the craziness in our lives, COVID included. It goes all the way back to March 14th of 2020 when we started getting together here in the War Room just to talk about everything that was going on, all the craziness, just everything. So what's going on? Carol's here, Jonathan, Elsa are here, Lisa and Tracy are here. Hello, Cheryl, Steven, Melissa and Corey are here, Alexis and Jessica. And if you are new to the War Room, something's going on with my hair. Hold on, it's driving me crazy. Everything, you guys know this camera's like reversed. I just hit myself with my headphones. Ugh. It's weird. Anyway, if you're new to the War Room, a couple things. First of all, this is a room in my house where the bar is. It's also where all of my military memorabilia and all of that kind of stuff is. So it's been called the War Room since I moved into this house well over a decade ago. However, on March 14th of 2020, we started having cocktails in here, and that is why we call it Cocktails in the War Room. So cheers to you. The other thing you might not be aware of if you're new is that there's a co-host of Cocktails in the War Room. She's small, but she is mighty. This is Wednesday, or Wednesday the Goth Pug, as she is known on Instagram. She is very close to 1,000 followers on Instagram. So if you are not following Wednesday on Instagram, we got to get those followers up there so she can get to 1,000. Now, if you are new to the War Room, you got to chime in the comments and let us know that you're new. And you also got to let us know where you're watching from so that we can properly welcome you. And by we, I mean the War Room family, who is everybody that you see in the comments right now. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the War Room. I hope you guys had a fantastic week. Wednesday is so stinking cute, says Jessica. Travis, double horns time, he says. Mark Bish says, toast to the greatest generation on the 79th anniversary of D-Day, 100%. I have a tradition on the anniversary of D-Day where I play General Eisenhower's radio address to the troops, which was actually recorded the night before the invasion, but I always play it on Invasion Day. So to the greatest generation, we have had several conversations about all of our grandfathers that were in World War II on this show, and there's a reason why they call them the greatest generation. So to all of our grandfathers, to all of our grandmothers, to the Rosie the Riveters, to everybody that donated steel and gunpowder and all of the things, and, mostly to those brave soldiers, airmen that stormed those beaches. And it's just when you read the stories, which, by the way, if you are new to the War Room, go back and listen to one of the older episodes of the Mistress Carrie podcast with my friend and author, Andy Biggio. He wrote a book called The Rifle that features stories of World War II veterans. The follow-up to that book, The Rifle 2, is getting ready to come out this fall. So we're going to have to get Andy back on the show to talk about the second book. But so to all of our World War II veterans, to the greatest generation. Good idea, Bish. Cheers to all of them. And our grandfathers, obviously. And yes, to everybody in the comments, I'm well aware that Wednesday would like treats. There is one thing I wanted to tell you guys about Wednesday, by the way. Today is a special day for Wednesday. Hey, sit down. Today is a special day for Wednesday. It was 5 years ago today that she came home. Now, her birthday is April 11th, but I had to wait until the early part of June to be able to actually bring her home. So this picture over here, right, Wednesday, this picture right here, that's the day she came home. And then you can see her now. She's filled in a little bit. Her eyes have straightened out a little bit. There she is with her big sister, Audie. So 5 years ago today, this is Wednesday's Gotcha Day. Yeah, pretty adorable, her little pictures, right? Right? Good girl. Good girl. The most food-motivated dog I have ever had in my entire life. Jillian says, my crazy 8-year-old is running around in my Mistress Carrie t-shirt. I told her not to lick anything weird and to wash her hands. That's fantastic, Jillian. What's going on, Debbie? She's joining us. Donna's here. Elsa. Sit down nicely. There you go. Very good girl. Rachel says, happy Gotcha Day Wednesday. Alexis and Heidi. Everybody says happy Gotcha Day. Can you look up here? Say hi to everyone. Yeah. Back up. Down. Good girl. Good girl. Sit, paw. Can I have the other paw? This one. No, I want that one. Can I have a high five? Yeah. High five again. High five. That's basically 10, but that's okay. Let's see. Puglet Wednesday, says Annette. Yes, exactly. Mark says, my grandfather on my dad's side shot down shot down some Japanese, and my mom's dad got a Purple Heart fighting the Nazis in Africa. Yeah, we've talked about just all of the unbelievable stories that are in our family's military histories here in the War Room. I showed you guys in the early days of the War Room my grandfather's medals, or at least some of the ones we know that he got, that he had them mounted when he was still alive, and those are hanging here in the War Room as well. So Betty says, Alex says, hi, Wednesday. Anyone else having a hard time breathing with the smoke from the Canadian wildfires? So, Louise, I was reading about that today because when I went outside this morning to walk Wednesday, I thought, okay, like somebody's having a campfire or something, which was kind of weird on a Tuesday morning. But there's also a construction site in my neighborhood, and I thought maybe they were burning brush from clearing the lot for the house. So then I saw the New England weather and that a lot of the hazy skies were due to the wildfire in Canada. Then I saw a New York paper and footage from the Yankees game today with how clouded over New York City is because of the wildfires in Canada. And it really smells like smoke at my house. Now, this has happened before. Was it last year or the year before? There were pretty severe wildfires in Canada, and you could smell them down here, and it's happening again. I haven't seen the ash. However, maybe that's because we've gotten so much rain in the last few days, but it definitely smells like smoke. Mark says the smoke outside is killing my asthma. I'm sure it is. What's up, Michelle? Tracy says, yep, a lot of coughing today. They said tonight that it was going to get worse for the smoke. That's fantastic. It's really bad in California, says Heidi. Let's see, was just talking to a buddy of mine in New Jersey. He said it was like night down there today. Well, if you see the footage from the Yankees game today, it looked like nighttime. It was crazy. Melissa, thank you for looking that up. Andy Biggio, the author of the book The Rifle, was on episode 51. That came out on May 26th of 2021. So yeah, it was a couple years ago, and now the new book is coming out, which is crazy. Christine says the smoke is all the way down in North Carolina. So I talked to my husband earlier today, asked him if he could see the smoke, and he said no, but it was raining today. So maybe as the rain clouds kind of clear out of where he is, they'll be able to smell it. Keith says it was the bloodiest battle in World War II. Not really a funny thing. Keith, what were you talking about with the funny thing? Did I miss something in the comments? Not getting much of it up here in Maine, says Ryan. It all depends on the way that the jet stream is and the way that I believe the wildfires are kind of in central Canada. So I think the way the jet stream is coming, it's bringing it down and then back up. And I think parts of Maine are actually getting bypassed, which is kind of crazy. I may not smoke, but still smoking. Not getting much up here in Maine. That's Ryan. With the experience from the smoke, I feel for those that live closer. I did get it pretty thick here. Keith says, "Oh, thought you meant pants bulge." That's where it was. You guys were talking about the Battle of the Bulge. I get it now. And the jet stream now, says David. Here in Springfield, it's pretty heavy, says Chris. So yeah, it all depends on where you are, but it is pretty crazy that the smoke is, hey, over here. No, over here. On this side. On this side. Sit down nicely. Here with your ducking stingray. Nope, sit down. Let's see. Can definitely see the hazy smoke in Drake today. The sun was super rad. Where I was, we didn't get a lot of sun today, and it definitely, you can smell the smoke, like someone in the neighborhood is having a campfire. It's really crazy that the fires are that far away and you can still smell everything. So, right, Wednesday, to keep you inside. Today's a good time. If you guys have central air and central heat, you should have a setting on your HVAC controller, especially if it's a digital controller, to just turn the fans on in your ductwork. So you're not running the heat, you're not running the AC, but you should have a fan setting, and that will circulate the air in the house and run it through the HEPA filters in your HVAC system. It is going to eat up a little bit of electricity, but it will clear the smoke in your house, and that might help with the asthma if you're in the house. If you don't have central air and central heat, obviously that's not going to work, but you may want to try a dehumidifier or something like that. There are things that you can do to kind of freshen up the air. I put one of those air cleaners in the ductwork in MCHQ during the pandemic, just because when I'm working, I can't open the windows, and I wanted the air to be fresh in the studio. So I put one of those in the ductwork just in the studio. Jane says, I was down in Connecticut, down on the shore today, and I couldn't see the water across the sound. My lungs are struggling. I have a sore throat and a headache. The smoke is pretty bad. Wednesday, they're all gone. There's no more cookies. No more. No more. Okay? Can you be good now, please? Mark says, the more you know with Carrie. I should put the little star bling up here in the corner. How's the air quality in Mass? I mean, it's smoky, but I don't have asthma and I don't really have breathing problems at all. So I feel for those that do, that either have really bad allergies or really bad asthma or something, because people are definitely struggling. So I was having breathing issues last week when my neighbor decided it was a good idea to put a fire pit within 10 feet of the house. Facepalm, says Dave. Yeah. I thought COVID was how the zombie apocalypse started. Well, obviously it's wildfires in Canada. That's how the zombie apocalypse is going to start. All right, we got a lot to talk about on the show. I got some pictures to share with you guys in case you didn't see them on my social media. Last week, I had a chance to go to the Palladium in Worcester and go see the Dark Fighter tour. So the record company opened up. They are a three-piece, a singer that plays harmonica. They are fantastic. They opened up the show for Rival Sons, who released their new album, Dark Fighter, this past Friday. Added a shirt to the collection, the Dark Fighter Rival Sons shirt. If you have not seen Rival Sons, Jay Buchanan was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. He was having a little bit of trouble with his voice. His voice was struggling a little bit because he's been doing so many interviews and has been singing so much leading up to the release of the record. So if you haven't seen the Dark Fighter tour, I know there is a date up in Portland, Maine, that The Bone is presenting later this summer. They are also out on the road on the World is a Vampire tour, talking about Rival Sons with the Smashing Pumpkins. So if you're going to see the Smashing Pumpkins, do not get there late. You want to be there and see the Rival Sons because they're fantastic. The new album is great. So much new music came out this past Friday. So I wanted to ask you guys, with all of the new music, Foo Fighters, Avenged Sevenfold, Buckcherry, Jelly Roll, Rival Sons, Rancid, the live album from the Hollywood Vampires, Bob Dylan released a record. The physical release of the Lockdown Sessions from Roger Waters was in there. There's a new EP from Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. There's a ton of new music. And a lot of it's getting great reviews. Huge reviews for Jelly Roll. Huge reviews for the Foo Fighters. people saying that even though they've been a band for 27 years now, that this is one of the best records they've ever done. So for all of the music, what do you guys think? What are some of the best ones that got released last week? Travis says Avenged Sevenfold for life. Doc Coyle from Bad Wolves commented on Twitter saying that Life is But a Dream, which is the new Avenged Sevenfold album, is the Abbey Road for metal, which I thought, knowing what a big Beatles fan he is, and obviously all of the guys are, is a pretty huge compliment. But the reviews for Avenged Sevenfold, just saying that they definitely had something to prove with this record, and you could tell, pretty huge. So, Mark, we're going to get to Tool. Don't you worry. Christine says Jelly Roll. Let's see. Watching America's Got Talent and this, says Jonathan. That's pretty hilarious. The Night Sweats aren't fun. Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats are a lot of fun. If you've never seen them live, they are fantastic. Let's see. The Foos made me cry. Dave did Taylor well. You can definitely see the influence of Taylor's passing throughout the record. And in a lot of the reviews I read in Billboard and Spin, it says that Dave Grohl found a way to channel his grief and loss into But Here We Are. And it's kind of amazing. Will says Steel Panther was terrific on America's Got Talent. Rachel says Jelly Roll and the Foo Fighters, both fantastic. What's up, Thomas? Checking in from Florida, from Plant City. Deep Purple Machine Head, am I in the wrong generation, says Mickey. We're talking about all of the new albums that came out last Friday. Look, Bob Dylan came out with a new record, so you're not in the wrong generation. Michael says, your show is so boring. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that. The documentary of Jelly Roll was very inspirational. Yeah, so if you haven't watched that, it's called Save Me, and it's streaming on Hulu. And it basically tells the entire story of Jelly Roll's kind of childhood, the troubled teenage years, the early starts of his music career, obviously all the way up to where he is today, which is basically taking over all of music. And they're going to close the charts on Thursday night. So we'll find out on Friday who debuted at number one, because there was a lot of albums to choose from. So Mark says the boob sweats aren't fun. Well, it depends on whose boobs, Mark. Tracy says you can leave. Not yelling unless you're playing outside. Be nice Wednesday. Yeah, she's not yelling. She's outside. Rachel says, oh my God, you again. I watched it over the weekend. It was really good, says Michelle. Yeah, so if you haven't watched it yet, it's fantastic. Tonight after the show, I'm going to watch the series finale of Succession, which I have not seen. I kind of have been binging the show over the last few weeks. So I'm looking forward to watching the last episode later on tonight, once we get out of here in the war room. So wanted to share these pictures with you guys. Also wanted to let you guys know that this coming Thursday, I'm going to be broadcasting live from Polar Park in Worcester at the Woo Sox game again. I'll be broadcasting live from 3 to 7. It is a throwback Thursday again, and I'm going to be welcoming El Tiante. Red Sox legend Louis Tiant is going to be joining me in the 5 o'clock hour live from the Sherwood Diner. That's this Thursday. I got all the details on that up in the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Also want to remind you guys, coming up September 9th, Rockfest with the Pike. That's happening at Indian Ranch. The Prince tribute band Love Sexy is going to be headlining, and you can get the full list of all the bands and get your tickets on the events calendar and the concert calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Speaking of the Pike, there are 2 more events I want to remind you guys about. The Pike's birthday happening just a few days before that at Indian Ranch. George Thorogood and the Destroyers celebrating 50 years of rock, and 100 FM The Pike in Worcester celebrating 19 years on the radio. So that is going to be their birthday bash. And this is coming up first, August 19th, the annual Pike Hair Fest. This year's headliner, the Four Horsemen, the Metallica tribute, but there's also Shot of Poison, The Priest, Welcome to the Jungle, and Osmosis. So it's going to be a full day. And these shows at Indian Ranch, by the way, are during the day. So you go there at like noon, you watch the show, and like by 5 o'clock, the show's over, which is kind of weird to be half drunk at a rock concert and to have it get out before 5 o'clock at night. It's very bizarre, but fantastic. Also want to say what's up to everybody that I met over the weekend. 106.3 The Bone presenting Bad Flower at Aura. That is up in Portland, Maine. And the opening acts were fantastic. Tiger Cub opened up the show, and I'm working on getting him on the podcast right now. There's a guy, his name's Daniel Rocco, but he goes by the stage name Des Rocks. And he's also opening up for Bad Flower. They played Wally's at Hampton Beach the next night. I've seen Des Rocks a few times at some of those rock radio conventions that I've gone to in Vegas. Des Rocks is another artist that I really want to turn you guys on to. He's a new artist. The single that's on the radio right now is a little bit of a tinge of The Who, but he mixes Elvis and AC/DC and The Who into this new thing. He's in his 20s. He's the lead guitar player and the singer. It's a 3-piece band. They're out of New York. They're called Des Rocks, and they are fantastic. So I really want you guys to go and check those guys out. Part of the whole reason for the War Room and the podcast is to turn you guys on to new music, and that's what I'm trying to do with some of these fantastic new bands that are coming out. And a lot of these bands are getting their big break on stations like The Bone. You can listen to me every weekday afternoon up in Portland, Maine on 106.3 The Bone. You can also go to 1063rocks.com or 1063thebone.com, either way, and you can stream the station. You can download the Bone app, either way. But they have a summer concert streak, and there are a ton of shows that are happening this summer up there. So I'm definitely going to be spending a lot of time in Portland. They've got great venues. They've got the State Theater up there. They've got Aura. They've got the Cross Insurance Arena, all in downtown Portland. So, and it's really not that far. It's a couple hours, which could take you a couple hours to get to Boston if you're fighting traffic. Okay, so wanted to give you guys your cocktail recipe of the week. This is a little late because it's not 92 degrees anymore, but I thought this was kind of a funny name for a drink. It's called Hot Pants, and yes, it's got tequila in it, so beware. 2 ounces of tequila in this one. It's also got an ounce of peppermint schnapps and a half an ounce of grapefruit juice. Now, I have not tried this. Those 3 things together sound really weird to me. Tequila, peppermint schnapps, grapefruit juice. It says shake the ingredients, pour them into a salt-rimmed old-fashioned glass, and serve. I would think you're probably going to garnish with a wedge of grapefruit or at least a twist. But that's called Hot Pants. And I want you guys to learn about new cocktails here in the show. If somebody tries that, will you please let me know how it is, because it seems really weird, but it's also probably one of those things that is absolutely delicious. It just took someone strange to go, I think I'm going to put tequila, peppermint schnapps, and grapefruit juice together and see how that goes. Tequila and grapefruit juice I have had, and it's delicious. The peppermint schnapps thing I don't quite understand. Now, Jessica says that sounds really delicious. Nope, sorry, no pants, says Keith. Chris says that will put you on the wrong bus. You'll be driving that bus as well. Mm-hmm. Salty rim, says Jonathan. Blueberry cobbler, bag of dicks, says Elsa. Just totally rando. Isn't tequila misdemeanor zone for you? Yes, full blown. That's why I'm saying 2 ounces of tequila, an ounce of peppermint schnapps, and you're cutting it with a half an ounce of juice. Yeah, that's borderline felony at that point. That sounds like trouble in a glass. Exactly. Mark says, Keith, they made that drink just for you. So yeah, there you go. All right, we got to talk about the podcast. Recapping last week's podcast episode 156, featuring Josh Todd from Buckcherry. They are one of the bands that came out with a new album last Friday. Their new album is called Volume 10. It features a cover of Bryan Adams' Summer of '69, which Josh Todd in this episode went into a whole thing about why they wanted to cover the song, why they love the song so much. If you listen to the episode, you also heard his dog, Lion, who was sleeping on his lap when we started the interview. He has a King Charles Cavalier, and Lion and Wednesday, who was in the studio with me, got to meet via Zoom when I talked to Josh Todd from Buckcherry. So if you haven't listened to the episode yet, Josh is an old friend. He came on the podcast back in the summer of 2020 when we were neck deep in COVID. He is one of the people that I have known the longest in music. And for those guys to be releasing their 10th studio album and to be out on the road, they are coming to Massachusetts in September. They're going to be at the Lynn Auditorium with Skid Row. All of the details on all of the New England shows on that tour are in the concert calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Let's see. Annette says, I don't care what anyone says. Avenged Sevenfold's Life is But a Dream is weird and fucking amazing. Well, Doc Coyle said in that tweet that I was talking about earlier when he called it Metal's Abbey Road, that it also has a little bit of pet sounds from Pink Floyd in there, which will explain some of that weirdness, I think, too. Mark says, Josh Todd and the playlist for last week's episode were fucking awesome. For anybody that doesn't know, maybe you're new to the show, maybe you're new to the podcast, all of the links that come in the podcast episodes, there's always a lot of links in there. I always put the links in if the guest is coming back so you can find their earlier episode easily. I always make sure you can find my guest links on social media, websites, YouTube channels, all that stuff, that you can find their links, their band's links, all of my links. But then there's always a link for a corresponding playlist. And as I'm going through and producing the episode, any reference to songs, bands, influence, stories from their childhood, I always go and find that music and put it into a playlist so that you've got a little bit of an accompaniment to the episodes. So some people have told me that they commute into work and listen to the episode and then listen to the playlist on the way back out. But what I really love is that you're getting the artist's music played right next to all of the music they said influenced them as they were growing up, as they developed their signature sound, learned how to play instruments. And so even though it's not derivative, you can hear the influence. And it's kind of like looking up a family tree of music, which I think is really interesting. And that's part of the reason why I put those corresponding playlists up there. So Lynn Auditorium is actually really nice, says Tracy. It is, and there's a lot of great shows that go in there. Keith says, Buckcherry, I'm buck naked. Everyone on your playlist I use on my runs. That's fantastic. Next week's playlist for next week's episode is really good too, but I'm not going to tell you who it is till next week. Buck Naked, good porn name. I think somebody actually used that one. Let's see. All right, so that's last week's episode. This week's episode has a fantastic playlist as well. Super excited. Episode 157 of the Mistress Carrie podcast features Brad Gillis from Night Ranger. Night Ranger is part of the lineup of the Bret Michaels Party Gras that's going to be at the Xfinity Center on July 21st. It's the Bret Michaels Band. It's Night Ranger. It's Jefferson Starship. It's Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray. And you'll remember on the bonus episode of the podcast when Bret Michaels announced the Party Gras that he wanted to go out on the road with a bunch of his friends, and he told everybody, no obscure songs, no deep cuts. We want all hits. This is going to be a summer party. They're doing big all-star jams at the end. They're going to have special guests. And so I wanted to talk to the guys from Night Ranger. So Brad Gillis came on. We talked about the solo in Sister Christian. We also talked, and I hadn't seen the movie at the time, and I was really bummed out. But if you guys have seen Air, the new Ben Affleck movie that I believe is on Paramount Plus about Nike and the partnership with Michael Jordan in the early 80s. Sister Christian is featured prominently in the movie, which is pretty cool. And he was really excited about that. But we talked to, this is one of the shorter episodes. Sometimes the episodes are hours long. Sometimes they're only 20 or 30 minutes long, like this week's episode. But Brad and I talked about his early days in music. We talked about his first instrument and the time he played guitar with Ozzy after the death of Randy Rhoads, of starting Night Ranger after playing with the band Rubicon back in the late 70s and early 80s. He also gave me a health update with Jack Blades, who had been in and out of the hospital but is doing great and getting ready to go out on the road. So pretty excited about this week's episode, because I love when we get newer artists on here, when you get brand new artists on there, but then I love these legacy bands, because all of the newer bands that we love, these are the bands that inspired them. The 80s, it's such a huge soundtrack to so many people's lives, mine included. And when you look up some of the biggest radio hits of the decade, Night Ranger's right there. So really excited that Brad Gillis from Night Ranger is my guest this week. Episode 157 of the Mistress Carrie podcast goes live at midnight tonight. And if you're looking for the podcast, if you subscribe, you get the weekly episodes that come out on Wednesdays. You get bonus episodes, which come out whenever I get access to an artist at the last minute, something that's not planned. Maybe they could only talk to me for a couple of minutes. Sometimes if I'm traveling and I get the opportunity to take a recorder with me and sit down, I did that with Billy Sheehan in Nashville at a podcast convention. Those episodes go up as bonus episodes. So you also, every weekday, if you subscribe to the podcast, get the Sit Rep, which is rock news, all your music headlines, entertainment updates, everything from streaming platforms, rock memorabilia auctions. It could be when people sell their music catalogs. It could be court cases, lawsuits, tours getting announced, all of that kind of stuff. You're going to get boiled down to 5, 6, 7 minutes, whatever it is. And the Sit Rep goes live really early in the morning. So you can just make it part of your day, listen to it in the morning when you're driving to work, dropping the kids off, making coffee, in the shower, whatever it is. But you get the Sit Rep, and that's Monday through Friday. So the Mistress Carrie podcast is very busy all the time. And if you want to subscribe, here are just a few of the places that you can listen to the podcast and subscribe, including most recently, all of the full-length episodes, audio only, are up on my YouTube channel. And I am still getting the back catalog up. But the last, I think, 40 episodes are already up on YouTube. The first 105, 110 episodes or whatever, slowly getting those up there. But the video files are big, and it takes a little bit of time. But all the big streaming places for podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, Odyssey, iHeart, Stitcher, Pandora. There's just so many apps to listen to podcasts. And wherever you listen to yours, you can listen to the podcast, or just go to mistresscarrie.com and click the link. And we're still holding strong at 149 countries around the world that are listening to the Mistress Carrie podcast, which is pretty awesome. So I'm super excited about that. Let's see. So Jesse, I've been trying to get Tom Kiefer from Cinderella on the podcast for a while. Tom Kiefer going out on the road with Winger. They're going to be in Providence in July. I would love to interview Kip Winger. Would really love to interview Tom Kiefer, because part of the reason I have purple hair is because I was such a huge fan of the debut Cinderella album, Night Songs. And I loved all of the pictures that they took under that smoky purple light. I always wanted purple hair, but when I saw those promo pictures, I was like, oh my God, I need to have hair that looks like it's under purple lights all the time. And there you go. Let's see. All right, you guys are talking about balls and holes and stuff. All right, if you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday. You share your birthday on June 6th with James Monkey Schaefer from Korn. Also, Tom Araya from Slayer, and Steve Vai were all born on this date. And so happy birthday to everybody celebrating a birthday. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Cheers to you guys. Let's see. What's going on with Seether? Rumor has it they're working on new music. That's what I heard. So I guess we're just going to have to be patient for that one. All right, music headlines. Lots going on in music, guys. We got a lot to talk about. Big announcements. This is the biggest one. Tool announced today. They are going back out on the road. They have got 3 shows in November. They're going to be at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. They're going to be at the SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire. And they are going to be at the TD Garden in Boston. All of those shows happening. It's November 10th, November 13th, November 15th. All 3 of those shows go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. through Ticketmaster. And all of the links, all the details, they have not announced opening acts yet, but all of the details and the links to get tickets are up in the concert calendar at mistresscarrie.com. I will be there. Huge Tool fan. I try to see them every time they come through town. I absolutely love them. If you've never seen them, it is an absolute experience. It's fantastic. They have a very strict no cell phone policy. There's signs all over the arenas. They tell everybody to keep your phones away. And then they always tell you at the end of the show for the last song that everybody can take their phones out. So you will definitely get the selfies. You'll definitely get the video. You'll get all of that. But being at a Tool show is great because nobody has their phones out. And if you take your phones out and try to videotape anything, they will kick you out. And I've seen them do it. I actually had a friend get kicked out last time Tool was in town, which was kind of hilarious. He was drunk. Is Mistress Carrie stuck again? Kevin says. Nope, she's good, says Kevin. No, I'm good. I'm not stuck. I don't even know what that means. All right, the new Stained album coming out in September, Confessions of the Fallen. The video got released last Wednesday. It's called Lowest in Me. It's out right now. Nita Strauss announced that the video is out for her collaboration with Dorothy. It's called Victorious. That is another collaboration on her upcoming solo album called The Call of the Void. And the new Nita Strauss solo album is coming out on July 7th. There's also the new Candlebox Unplugged album, Live at the Neptune, that's coming out on June 23rd. The Dropkick Murphys announced their major tour. They've got dates in Maine, New Hampshire, and Connecticut. That's after they went in and was one of the headliners of Boston Calling at the last minute. Here's some shows coming to the Garden. Greta Van Fleet, September 15th. Queen and Adam Lambert on October 15th and 16th. Aerosmith on New Year's Eve with the Black Crowes at the TD Garden. And like we were just talking about, just announced Tool. Ooh, that's a typo right there. Not two. Tool. Tool are going to be at the Garden. There we go. Let me fix that. Do my social. Tool at the Garden on November 15th. So all of these shows are up on the concert calendar. And the only one that's sold out as of right now that I know of is the first Queen and Adam Lambert show on October 15th. Big Night Live. Tickets are still available to see Tarja coming up on June 18th. Those tickets are on sale now. Big Night Live is the new venue that they built at the Garden at North Station. Also at the Xfinity Center this summer, a ton of shows, and the list keeps growing. Everybody from Dave Matthews, the aforementioned Avenged Sevenfold, Party Gras, Night Ranger on the podcast this week, Godsmack Stained. This show, by the way, they added nothing more to the Godsmack and Stained show at the end of July at the Xfinity Center. Mudvayne, that's got everybody from Cold Chamber and Nonpoint, Guar, and the Butcher Babies. Jelly Roll, he has got a rotating list of openers. He's playing in Connecticut, in Mass, New Hampshire, and up in Maine. Foreigner on August 5th. Disturbed, that one is with Breaking Benjamin and with Ginger. Ghost, Nickelback, Offspring. Shinedown with Papa Roach and Spirit Box at the end of September, but a ton of shows. The Xfinity Center, once again, super busy this year. Also, the Hollywood Vampires, that got rescheduled at the Box Center Wang Theater from May 31st to July 28th. Johnny Depp hurt his ankle at Cannes, probably getting off of a private yacht or something. So they had to reschedule the date. The rescheduled date for the SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire is July 29th, by the way. Extreme and Living Color at Roadrunner coming up on August 5th. They sold out the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom as well. And they have a show up in Portland All those dates up on the concert calendar as well. Aaron Lewis at Foxwoods. The Tool shows I was telling you about, the SNHU Arena on November 13th, Mohegan Sun on November 10th. Those shows all going on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Palladium shows coming up July 1st. Weezer Outdoors. Those tickets have been on sale since March. Sleep Token. They just sold out the arena at Wembley in 10 minutes. I told you, keep your eyes on this band. They sold out the Palladium in like an hour. So they're going to be at the Palladium on the 12th. Parkway Drive is going to be at the Palladium Outdoors on September 15th. The MGM Music Hall at Fenway. This has got everybody from the Pixies and Les Claypool, Yellowcard, Noel Gallagher, Newfound Glory, Mastodon, and Gojira for 2 shows. That first show is sold out. Beck, Billy Idol, September 9th. Those tickets are on sale. Motionless in White, October 29th. These tickets went on sale last week. Danzig, September 11th. He's going to be playing his entire debut album in full. And 3 Days Grace and Chevelle on October 14th. And those shows went on sale last week. So keeping the list going. Tons of shows. Thrice, The Struts, Corey fucking Taylor, all at the House of Blues. This Corey Taylor show on September 13th is just 2 days before his CMF2 sophomore solo album is coming out. And speaking of new releases, these are the ones that are coming out this Friday. Alice Cooper, the deluxe edition of Killer, the deluxe edition of School's Out, the deluxe edition of The Art of Survival, the latest album from Bush. This has got more new music on it as well. And Extreme releasing their highly anticipated new album, 6. That's going to be available on vinyl and CD, digital downloads, all of that. But all of these are coming out this coming Friday, and lots going on. Mail call this week. Nothing in the mailbox this week. At least there wasn't anything yesterday when I went to the post office. Maybe stuff showed up today, but I didn't get a chance to go today. So no mail call this week. Sorry, Wednesday. Let's see. Oh, show me your MC. So if you have gotten stuff out of the online shop at mistresscarrie.com, you got to wear it and take pictures. Thank you to Barbara for sending me this picture from the Indy 500. Fantastic. So if you are out and about wearing Cocktails in the War Room gear, Mistress Carrie gear, make sure you're taking selfies. Take pictures from wherever you are so we can see the background. We want Cocktails in the War Room and the Mistress Carrie gear all around the world. Make sure you send me the pictures. We'll obviously see them here in the War Room. And also, there is a photo gallery that is up on this Facebook page as well called Show Me Your MC, so we can put all of those up there as well. Speaking of the merch store, I got a warning that from the website. It sends me a little alert when I'm almost out of certain things. The Slate Cocktails in the War Room coasters, they're almost gone. I believe there's 3 sets left. So if you want a set of them, get your orders in now. It might take a little while to get them restocked. They're made in Massachusetts and veteran made. And so that's the newest stuff. But the concert bags are still up there. The 7-in-1 bartender tools that'll help you make the hot pants drinks. The t-shirts, tank tops, baby onesies, all of that stuff is up there. And I am working on some new ideas. Some prototypes are on the way, and I'll be filling you in with all of that stuff. David says, yeah, Nuno, hopefully the fires in Canada will be gone before the outdoor concerts. It's killing me here in Holden, says Stephen. Carol says, I sent you a package. Well, it wasn't there yesterday, so maybe it got there today. Poor Wednesday, says Jessica. Tracy says, Mark Bishop, the BAA registration opens soon. Something to keep in mind when it comes to the marathon for 2024. The John Hancock has been sponsoring the Boston Marathon for like 27 years, and they are not going to be a sponsor of the marathon next year. So the BAA is going to be making changes around the marathon, bringing in a new title sponsor, and so that could affect how much the charities are required to have people raise for bibs for the marathon. They haven't announced all of this stuff yet. I just know that these things are coming. because I've already had friends kind of trying to find bibs for charities and stuff. So we know that there are changes coming to the marathon. All right. If you have a Mistress Carrie backstage pass, I want to apologize. We were supposed to get together. Was supposed to happen a couple of weeks ago, and I fell asleep. So I want to get together this Sunday if we can. It's that Sunday night. So if you have a Mistress Carrie backstage pass, we're going to get together Sunday night, June 11th at 7:30. And I'm also going to post that up on Patreon as well. But if you don't have a backstage pass yet, you get the once a month private live streams. You get to submit podcast interview questions, and you get to find out who's on the podcast before anybody else does. You get travel blog updates, and there is a big trip coming later this summer that I am going to talk to you guys about very soon because I'm going to be taking you guys with me. Early access to event tickets. You get merch discount codes, exclusive concert ticket giveaways, and that brings me to some of the concerts that you have access to. So if you have a backstage pass, you have access to free Avenged Sevenfold tickets, free tickets to the Bret Michaels Party Gras, and to the Mudvayne tour with Cold Chamber and Nonpoint, Butcher Babies, and Guar. So if you have a backstage pass, you guys know how to get to me through Patreon and request some of these free tickets. If you don't have a backstage pass, click the Patreon button at mistresscarrie.com or go to patreon.com/mistresscarrie and get a backstage pass so you can get in on a lot of these concert ticket giveaways. And there are a lot of ticket giveaways that are coming. I told you we've been really, really busy with shows. I've been requesting a lot of tickets, and so there are tons of tickets that are coming. Yes, I know about the typo. I'm fixing it now. Damn it. It's Thursday. It's not Thursday. God damn it. Okay. That's 2. It's almost gone. Where are we going? Lisa wants to know. I will tell you. All the details haven't been completely ironed out yet. Richard Fitz, it was good to see you at the Hammer Run on Sunday down in Bridgewater. Heidi says, we appreciate you, Mistress Carrie, for all that you do. I appreciate that. It was just so, I had talked to you guys about my dear friend Hamma that passed away. They had a memorial motorcycle run for him on Sunday, and I went down for that and got to see Richard Fitz and a bunch of other people down there, which was great. Lou says, tired Carrie still in the hospital in Boston. Lou, you're in the hospital in Boston right now? Big typo, take a bigger drink. Listen, Keith, I have like 1 sip left. I'm trying to savor it till the end of the show. Clang, give me another, says Tracy. I can't wait for another get together. I am waiting to hear from the guys from Regimental Spirits to find out about the event that we're trying to put together possibly for July, but I don't know yet. So I definitely will let you guys know as soon as we put something together. All right, want to remind you guys about all the places you can find me, obviously. All the links on social that are all linked at mistresscarrie.com. And you can also download the Pike app. Just go to pikefm.com. You can listen to the Pike anywhere. And if you download the Bone app, just go to 1063thebone.com. Then you can listen to me on the Bone. Both of these every weekday afternoon. And all of those details at mistresscarrie.com. So there you go. Jessica wants to know how mom is doing. She's doing okay. No big changes since the update last week. She's doing all right. Mark says, hey, Carrie, I'm running in the Lieutenant Derek Hines Memorial 5K in Newburyport this Saturday. Way to go, Bish. Still skydiving. Steven, actually, I have not been able to go since I hurt my shoulder last year. I just found out that I had to have some work done on my rig. I had some new safety equipment put in my parachute, all of that kind of stuff. I just found out from the rigger yesterday that all of that work has been completed. So I am going to be working on getting my recurrency taken care of so I can start skydiving again. I haven't jumped in almost 2 years, so I have to do some recurrency stuff, even though I have my license to get back up in the air again. So yes, still skydiving, and we'll be jumping very soon. Let's see. David says, have a good night, kids. I'm hitting the hot tub. Nice, David. That's fantastic. Let's see. Oh, you guys are all talking about your birthdays and stuff. So, all right, guys. So that's it. Yeah, skydiving coming up. Lots going on. It's been a very busy week. I auditioned for another radio station. Can't really talk too much about it, but I'm just waiting to hear if they are in fact going to hire somebody, and if that somebody is going to be me. So keep your fingers crossed for me, and I'll give you more details when I have them. But there's lots going on this summer. It's going to be a really good summer, and I'm not only looking forward to a lot of the work opportunities. It was really fun going up to Portland, and there's a lot of people that live in and around the Portland area that listen to The Bone, that grew up listening to me on AAF, that were coming up to me at Aura saying, oh my God, it's so nice that I finally get to listen to you on the radio again, which is pretty cool. So when is the nude skydiving? We discussed that last week. It's so not happening. So that was really cool. So I'm excited to be able to spend some more time up in Portland doing stuff with The Bone. Really excited that I've been able to get out and about a lot with the Pike as well. And we are going to work on some more events for later on this summer for sure. So lots going on. All right, guys, that's it. Episode 157 of the Mistress Carrie podcast goes live at midnight tonight. Episode 157 featuring Brad Gillis from Night Ranger. And if you're a Night Ranger fan, I think you're really going to love this episode. So, all right, I will see you guys next week. Thank you for hanging out with me. Episode 235. Insane. And happy Gotcha Day Wednesday. She's giving me the paw in the other room because there's no cookies. What can you do? All right, good night, guys. I'll see you guys later.